Hey, hi everybody. We are here for Game Changers and probably at maybe the most beautiful spot in the Lehigh Valley with one of the best guys in the Lehigh Valley. Talk about a game changer, Kurt Landis. It's always great to be with you. But, other than missing human beings, this is heaven on earth.
Well, I appreciate it. It's been an odd year at the ballpark with a lot of empty seats, unfortunately. But in my mind, this is the best place in Lehigh Valley. To see friends, family, to come together as a community. It means a lot to me, and I think it means a lot to people in the region.
Yeah, I know the Chamber jumped on board the minute we knew that you guys were coming to the Valley, and that's a really good point in terms of quality of life, what this means. When I think of coming here when we could, and that will happen next year,
right?
Hopefully we'll be back, but the happiness. So I think of my grandkids, and when they see Fifi and Ferris and people out in the outfield with the picnic baskets or, blankets, it's a happiness place, and I think that's your goal. It's about winning and losing, but not as much as enjoyment.
Well, it's always about baseball to some degree, but for so many people, this is so much more than baseball, Tony. It's about fun. It's about memories. And for me, that's why I love it here so much. I mean, I'm a baseball fan, but at the end of the day, I like creating memories for people and just making it a place that people enjoy being at. And when you are in a business that doesn't necessarily make a product, you actually just create memories. It's different how you approach the game, the activity, the venue. It's much more about the experience and the atmosphere than the actual game on the field itself.
Well, Kurt, I've never heard anybody complain about what it is that you do. You're about getting it done, your attention to detail, making sure your sponsors, your supporters, your season ticket holders are happy. Tell me how you got here, the professional you.
Well, I was a kid, like many people that wanted to be involved in sports and had no idea what that meant.
I was a kid too. Same thing.
Not long ago.
Good answer.
So literally, I went to sport management in college. I grew up in Ohio, went to school at Bowling Green, Ohio. Came out of college. I did some internships within the sports world. That really piqued my interest, and especially baseball. Like we just talked about, I learned quickly that it wasn't just about sports. It was about entertainment. And that side really excited me. So I think I found my niche within sports in being close to the game and the participants and the athletes, the competition. But at the same point, I found for myself a little more of a zeal for just wanting to entertain and keep people happy.
Yeah, and you're certainly doing that. By the way, it reminded me when I saw some bugs flying around. I do want to thank our friend Mark from Mosquito Hunters, who do an amazing job and are sponsors for us. So thank you so much, Mark and Mosquito Hunters, for being our sponsor. That's important. We appreciate that. I'm thinking, I hear them, I think they're aerating the field. Is that right? How important, when you talk about detail, how much pressure, you're in a league, it's a big time league, the AAA. Is there pressure, not pressure, but standards set by the league to say, your field has to be this way, the whole environment has to be approached in a certain way?
Well, I don't think there's any pressure in terms of the league. I think the most pressure that I feel, or that our staff feels, is probably put on by ourselves. I think we have a very high expectation for what we do here. In fact, when other teams come into the ballpark, they look around and go, this ballpark's 12 years old. It looks like it's brand new. And we have that pressure expectation ourselves that we want this venue to be perfect. We want the guest service element to be extremely high. The promotions, the creativity, how do we entertain? How do we change ourselves? How do we have to reinvent ourselves each year to stay relevant, for people to be excited about our product? People tell me all the time, like, well, I'm not a baseball fan. I said, well, you're perfect.
Yeah.
We're not looking for baseball fans. We're looking for people that want to have fun and be out in the open environment with a nice meal. I tell people we're the largest restaurant in Lehigh Valley, 10,000 people in 3 hours.
Yeah, that's a challenge. I want to ask you this. You're an optimistic guy and always out there happy, pushing what you're pushing, doing what you love to do. But it had to affect you. I think it affected all of us. And I think we sort of underestimate how much psychologically. I mean, you're ready in March to put thousands and thousands of people here all summer long, which never happened. And, we have the same at the Chamber. We're an event
right.
group. And
right.
It's hard. It really is. And, you fight the fight and you be creative, but it's hard.
It's been extremely hard summer. I mean, you're so busy sometimes you go from one thing to the next because you're trying to plan or budget or fight your way through the pandemic. But yeah, for our staff, myself, you put a lot of time and effort into 2020. We put a full 10 to 12 month planning season ahead of the actual season itself. And so when you get to that point where you're almost ready to start and then nothing, it's hard. Our fans, there's so many people that come not just to love this place, but they need it. From a social basis.
I'm glad you say, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but there are people that this is their summer. This is like their vacation for the summer. They might as well be in a tropical island when they're in this seat every night.
And again, this is a happy place. People come for the memories. But for many people, I just went and visited one of our season ticket holders last week who's having a birthday. He's kind of down. He hasn't been to the ballpark. And you talk to him, and this does just mean a lot to him because it's a chance to get out in the fresh air. For him to be out and to have a social life, to mingle with other people, to have interactions. Otherwise, he's just shut in by himself. This is where his friends are. This is where he met people and interact. So, like a mental well-being, the social well-being, I fear a little bit for Lehigh Valley, for the world, that we just lost some things. So, in many respects, I know when we finally get it back and have the chance to be here, it's going to be amazing, right? It's just going to be a very comforting, impactful moment to stand for the national anthem, the very first game, where we as a community together say, we did it, we survived, and here we are. And I'm expecting to be a very emotional moment. And the ballpark, for many, again, is not just about the game itself, but for the community to come together, to be here 10,000 strong, it's going to mean a lot more than just baseball.
Yeah, I always say it changed our swagger. I mean, it made you realize we got a AAA, we got a beautiful stadium and a AAA ballpark. It made us, I would say we made it walk with a different swagger from a community standpoint.
Well, when I first arrived about 13, 14 years ago, before the ballpark was built, I'd go around, meet with, folks in the chamber or where it might be the case, and people would say, I'll believe it when I see it, right? Like this will never be successful.
Because we had false starts. That's a good point.
Correct. And so, we always made a point to show off the ballpark as much as possible as it was coming out of the ground. And all of a sudden people started to realize, all right, this is happening. Oh, you won't be successful long term. And here we are 12 years later, the most successful minor league team in the country in a small market relative to AAA speaking. And I really feel a pride in that. I think this construction, this venue, the quality of life that we provided really helped the casino. It helped Arts Quest. It helped the Phantoms and PPL Center. Those projects became less and less inhibitive in terms of the mindset about
we can do it,
what we can do and what we deserve.
Yeah. That's a really, really good point. I know. So I want to make sure we remember history, and a lot of people really came together. Finley and Stein, big time investment. The counties stepped up investment. Joe Brake and Coca-Cola for the naming rights. The Butz Company. You happen to have Lee Butz, who's an incredible baseball fan. Couldn't wait to build it. So there were a lot of great things that lined up. And I think that's happened to have something this good. I mean, you can have a mediocre park to have what we have. The stars had that line, and that's kind of a Lehigh Valley thing.
You're 100% right, because there's new ballparks, one or two every year, and they're beautiful to start. But to have the reinvestment of our ownership, the great partnership of Lehigh County that also wants to participate and help us maintain this facility. And you've seen it in other venues. I mean, even Scranton, the old ballpark in Scranton, was 20 years old, and it looked 60 years old before it was replaced. And here you're in a venue that's almost 14 and looks brand new. And it's because you have the right people that care about the facility, the right partnerships, the right community citizens, the right politicians that understand what this means to its region. Yeah,
we've had a good run, and hopefully we'll continue on and on. Are you optimistic for next year?
I am. I think everyone's anxious for the vaccine, right? And I think until the vaccine comes, we're going to be in the same odd world of understanding limits and occupancy. But when the vaccine comes, I'm anxious that people can make their own choices, hopefully at that point in time. And so long as that comes in January, like a lot of people seem to think it will arrive, I'm really optimistic about our season. And I think there'll be some people that will be cautious, but I think on the flip side, there's going to be so many other individuals that are just craving to be outdoors, to be back to normal. That's going to be very successful.
What about the economics? I mean, have people stuck with you? I get the sense they do, because they know not only what you get from having a billboard here and the amount of exposure, but I think your corporate sponsors are with you, I would say, in the sense that for the good of the community.
It's funny, Tony, you mentioned that. We've always called our corporate sponsors our partners, purposely in our communications and how we work with people. And then when we went to a a pandemic, it was really obvious to us why we refer to them more as partners than sponsors, because it's because of their partnerships and the relationships that we have with so many different folks in the community. Everyone just loves what we have here and understands the importance to the community, the quality of life, economic development. Nearly everyone said, hey, Kurt, we're with you. We'll be there for you for next year. Count on us. And there's so many other partners that, if they could, when they were able to, even supported our events that we did this year, because they saw that we're still trying to provide a level of activity so that people can feel normal and get out of their houses.
How about if we move to the fun side of this whole thing? And that is, I don't think that people realize, I mean, everyone loves Fifi and Ferris, and just my grandkids see them and so happy. But you have to be a pretty good athlete to put that suit on and move around like that. I mean, is that part of the selection? I mean, you gotta be a good athlete to make it happen.
100%. I mean, you have to be a good athlete and you have to be a great actor or actress, because that's kind of what you are. You're playing a role inside the suit.
Yeah.
And you have to be very demonstrative, because so many people get in the suit and they want to wave or give high fives.
Yeah.
But to be a character, you have to be very demonstrative and aware of your surroundings at all times. So there's a lot to it. We've actually had the same two mascots, performers, since day one.
Wow. So that really, okay. So they've stuck with you that long. Most of your people have been with you for a long time, which is a credit to your management style. I think you have a philosophy that, it's a family and you want to hang on to people.
Well, I don't think it has anything to do with my management style, although I appreciate it. I think it just comes down to the culture that we have here. And when you come to the ballpark every day and you're surrounded with other people that are allowed to be creative and encouraged to be creative, we try to give as much responsibility to every individual as possible. They feel great about their roles. They understand the roles. That's all you do, is you give them a job description and let them go do their jobs. In an environment like this, where they know it's not just baseball, where they know they can grow, that's really what leads to people wanting to stay around.
What was your greatest moment other than opening night, of course? And I was here opening day, I should say. I'll never forget that. And but what are some of the moments that you just felt like, boy, this is amazing. Thank God for this job.
Oh gosh, there's a million.
Yeah, I bet.
There's times where you step back and you realize this is more than a job, and what you do for the community and how you give back. If it's our grant process, we've awarded, throughout the last 12 years, 13 years, almost now $2 million in grant dollars back to local organizations. That makes you feel great about what you do through our charities.
Yeah.
There's times here, the promotions are so much fun, and that's a lot of the memories. But when your promotions actually have a community impact, we did a funeral giveaway, and that was all fun and games, right? Hey, we're giving away a free funeral.
You've done some crazy stuff, by the way, which I love. I mean, and you've gotten some real exposure for it.
It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. But for the funeral night, there's the gentleman that won spoke from his heart about why it was important to him that he had this for his father, because his father was terminal, had cancer, and an event promotion that was very fun and lighthearted, became extremely real and impactful. And during the ceremony, Tony, there was 10,000 people here, packed full. Not one had a dry eye.
Yeah, I'm almost getting there now.
It gives you goosebumps a little bit.
Yeah, so that's great when you can have that kind of effect. So I'm going to bring in Lauren Spence in a minute, but the last question I want to ask you is, do you like it here and you're going to stay here? I mean, I think is this home? I mean, you have opportunities and you're going to have opportunities.
Tony, I'll stay as long as you're going to stay in Lehigh Valley.
Oh, really?
So
okay.
We signed a pact.
Yeah, that could be another 100 years. No, that's not that long.
I love it here. I absolutely do. And a lot of people ask me and say, hey, why don't you move up to the majors?
Yeah.
But, at the majors, you're doing one thing and you have to do it very well.
Yes.
And you do it over and over and over.
Yeah.
Here, you get to do a little bit of everything. Yeah. If we have an idea that we want to make our mascot into dead fried food and call it bacon, and, we have the idea, we can do it tomorrow.
Yeah, what I love about you, it kind of reminds me a little bit of myself, that you're willing to try crazy stuff. I mean, the world needs some of that, making life interesting, crazy.
Well, we're pigs. We throw mud against the wall.
Yeah, exactly. All right, we're going to bring Lauren in and give you some really tough questions, okay?
All right, great.
You can handle it.
Great.
Hey, we are back now, and one of the fun things we do is, I'll just let me say this, and I know Kurt feels the same. We have some amazing people at the chamber, and younger people that are going to lead this chamber going forward, and one of them is Lauren Spence. So, Kurt, Lauren's got some young people question for you. And,
I'm here to hit you with the hard-hitting
I
questions.
hope you can handle it.
Does that mean you're not young, or does that mean I'm not young? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it means me, not you. Go ahead. It's all
Thanks,
yours.
boss. So I know you talked a little bit about the culture here, Kurt. I
Mhm.
wanted to see if you had any advice for young professionals who might be interested in a company culture like this.
Fantastic. I think for individuals just coming out of college, at least for sports, it's all about just getting your feet in the industry and just starting to know people, to not be shy, ask questions. For us, and I think for a lot of industries, it's just about getting experience within sports. So not that I don't look at the GPA, or not that I don't look at your college activities or extracurriculars, but I'm really looking for people that want to be invested in the sport. And then you go through an interview process, and then you just want their personality to show, like what is this person passionate about? And I think that, again, that goes not just for here, but for many places, that they're willing to work hard, they're passionate about what they believe, and that they would contribute to that same culture.
That's a good point if I could jump in real quick, Kurt. And that is, whenever we interview people, I always say, tell me about, other than what I see from your college, what else did you do? How'd you have fun? Because
Right.
it tells you a little bit about a person. All right, sorry, Lauren.
Well, everyone knows the interview questions, right? But
Yeah.
how do you really see this person's character? And that's what we want. It's like, is it TBS, TNT? Like, we want characters,
Sure.
right?
And
Not
Lauren's
just
a character. And you had a lot of fun at Villanova, right?
I did. I had a great
She
time
loves
there.
Villanova. That's what
Do go Cats, always.
All right, you got another question.
So you have the most creative theme nights here at Iron Pigs. What is your favorite theme night that you've ever done?
That's a good question.
Gosh.
I know it's a tough question.
Every year, there's 70 different nights, 7 different themes.
Did you say 70?
70.
Whoa.
So there's not one day that goes by that we don't have something.
Some crazy thing.
It's like planning a wedding, all right? You have your wedding, and you have, this is what the bridesmaids and the grooms wear,
Yeah.
and we have to pick out uniforms and thematics. And like, how do you plan for 200 people at a wedding? It's a lot of stress for people getting married. Well, you have that stress kind of every day with 10,000
Yeah.
people, right? But it's hard to say which wedding theme that we've had here that we like the best.
You got to be happy
Gosh.
sometimes when you hit a home run and get national attention. Like, I think it was the urinal thing that you did, which was kind of but that
Right.
got you national attention, right?
Yeah. So the national attention ones are so much fun, because then you hear from your friends and family at
Yeah.
home or across, and when 50 different states are buying your merchandise
Yeah.
because they see something. That's a lot of, it feels great. And some of those promotions, our fans love locally, and sometimes it's more about a national audience. But the urinal games,
Yeah.
to this day, people talk about, they want to go to the restroom here because they want to play the urinal games.
Was there actually a winner that someone was it? I mean,
So what you would do is, if you went to there'd be there's 6 urinals
Yeah.
in a restroom. People would line up for the one that was the urinal video
Oh,
system.
it's only one.
So then you have a long line behind one urinal, and the other urinals were empty.
Yeah.
And you come up, you play the game,
yeah.
and at the end of the game, it gives you a score. And then you could go to your seat, enter your score, and it would verify. And we post the top scores on a scoreboard during the game.
I feel deprived. I got to do something for the ladies
I
right
know,
next,
that's-
Kurt.
That's so,
We always feel bad. That's the biggest question. It's
Yeah.
like, well, why not the ladies?
Yeah. So
We haven't
maybe
figured out
someone
the,
will creatively pull it off. Hey, I just want to say it is so great. I'm going to let Lauren sign off, but I do want to say thank you, Mark, Mosquito Hunters. Thank you for sponsoring. Allison Pickle, Becca Little-Schmidt, thank you for all your support, and it's all yours to sign off.
Thanks, Tony. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you, Kurt. It's always great speaking with you, and we're so grateful to have you here in this episode of Game Changers. Stay tuned to the Chamber's social media and our website, as well as Connections Magazine, for the latest updates on Game Changers and our next episode. We'll see you soon.